Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition in our Westry Horne Cultural Heritage Lecture Series. I am Safir Jenkins of Frontiers International Plainfield Area Club, and this, among many other ways, is one of the platforms that we leverage to make a positive impact on the communities that we serve. Together with our other efforts, including the scholarships, which we've awarded over 200 as of recent to deserving young people, to give them access to the opportunity to further their education and to be a pivotal and vital contributor to the society in which we live. These are typically at-risk youth who otherwise might not have the same degree of access and opportunity as their peers. However, we recognize the importance of fostering and cultivating a culture of continuous improvement, a culture that empowers our young people to thrive, because there is nothing that they cannot accomplish if given the right opportunity and means of support. I am Safir Jenkins, president of Frontiers International Plainfield Area Club. Today, we have a very special guest known as Ron Freeman. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Freeman is the Olympic double medalist diplomat, humanitarian, and activist for peace. Ron came to international attention during the 1968 Olympics, most remembered for the bowed heads and raised fists of Tommy Smith and John Carlos as a silent protest against racial discrimination in the United States. When the U.S. team swept the individual 400-meter dash, Ron and his teammates stood on the podium during the medal ceremony wearing emblematic black berets and black socks. Ron's second trip to the victory stand was with his gold medal winning of the 4x400-meter relay teammates, winning them and conquering his opponents. During that race, Ron closed a 10-meter gap of the lead runner to pass him and opened a 15-meter lead thereafter. Ron's 43.2-second lap was, in fact, the fastest 400-meter relay split in track and field history that stood at that standing for more than 20 years. His time was ultimately responsible for the United States world record-setting time of 2 minutes, 56.16 seconds, which shattered the world record by over 3 seconds and was unbroken, ladies and gentlemen, for 25 years. Ron lived in Africa for more than 20 years. He, going beyond his accomplishments in the Olympics, he went on to capture degrees in political science and a master's in counseling. He founded the International Medalist Association, a multi-tiered organization that focuses on inner city education incentives and initiatives, as well as international education initiatives in Africa. For more than a decade there, Ron, through the International Medalist Association, has made it possible for hundreds of youth to receive hot meals, gain tutoring, and mentoring from committed university students. Ron has been placed into several sports halls of fame, and in 2007, he also became the first American ever given the Japo Humanitarian Award in Dakar, Senegal, for the work he has done in Africa, and most recently, the Global Sports Humanitarian Award. Ron has been inducted into the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the renowned, the very impactful, the humanitarian himself, Ron Freeman.
Thank you, Safar. Wow, that was a great introduction.
Your Ron really speaks for itself, and I could not be prouder, or it's not a more humbling experience I can think of than to sit and speak with the likes of yourself. So I appreciate your time today. I welcome you to this platform. I do, folks, just before we jump into the lecture itself, I want to give you guys a peek into some of the impact that Ron has had. And I'm going to share my screen here so that you can set the stage, set the tone for today's discussion, and then we'll zoom right back in with Ron Freeman. Stay tuned. All right, and just a bit more, ladies and gentlemen, just a moment. And Ron, for these other two images, if you would, just talk through with us what we're seeing and the impact that it has had.
Okay. Well, that is the finals of the 1968 Olympic Games. These races in '68 are much different from the races of today. It hasn't really been brought out before in the history of the Olympic Games. But today, when athletes go to the Olympic Games, they'll run they'll run trials, semis, and finals, but there'll be a day in between each race. It won't. When we went to the Olympic Games, we ran 5 races in 6 days. And those 5 races included the relays, trials, and finals. Today, in the relays, they have an A relay team and a B relay team. So it's really easy to race in today's Olympic Games. You know, with the times that we run, and at the same time to set a world record by 3 seconds. I don't think that has been done since the time we did it. But this was a good race. You know, I was in lane 1, running behind Larry, so I knew I had a challenge even just to place, because lane 1 is not a good lane for a 400-meter man. Okay, this is the victory stand celebration. Larry James, Larry James, Lee Evans, and myself. The thing that happened here was, you know, it wasn't a good call for us, because when we got our medals, the president of the Olympic Committee, Avery Brundridge, he came up to us and he said, "Listen, we don't want you to do any demonstration, or else you'll lose your school scholarships, you'll be kicked out of the stadium, and blah, 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 blah." So if you can imagine, you know, 3 young guys winning the biggest race of their life, then going forward to set another world record in the 400-meter relay, that was pressure put on us. And by the way, all of us broke the old world record. Lee and Larry set a new world record. But we had that pressure on us going into the finals of the 4x400 meter relay. And to tell you the truth, they could not take our scholarships. They could not kick us out of the Olympic Games unless the United States Olympic Committee allowed them. And that was a falsehood of them putting John and Tommy out because it wasn't there. They did not have the right to put them out of the Olympic Games. But 50 years later, the United States Olympic Committee said, yeah, that was a mistake. And you're in the Hall of Fame. That's how they set that right with John and Tommy. Okay, this is, I'm in the front next to Vince Matthews. Larry and Lee Evans are in the back. That's on the victory stand after we won the 4x400 meter relay. Okay, this is a picture when we were leaving. Just got off the victory stand of the 400 meters, Lee Evans, Larry James, and myself. Once again, the victory stand when Lee got his medal, and Larry's on the left and I'm on the right. Lee and Larry has left us a few years ago. Only other members of that relay team is Vince Matthews and myself.
Wow. Definitely some pointed moments there that they really illustrate for us that while things themselves were very challenging, right? Being able to stand for justice, being able to stand for what is right, it also shows us that not much has changed. I mean, you guys were exercising your right to silent protest, I guess, if you will, in many ways, or at least representing the stance of justice. Yet today we see that the likes of Colin Kaepernick, as an example, where such advances that we'd expect to see are really limited by the perspectives and limiting beliefs that still exist that suggest that disruption of the normative injustice of a society is truly the problem instead of the unjust society itself. So at this time, I'm going to turn to you, Ron, so that you can share with our viewers from the topics that you've prepared or walking them through the content that you have. Folks, as we go through the lecture, if you have questions that you would like to ask during the broadcast, we will certainly take them and answer them live during our Q&A session following the lecture. Please key in your questions in the chat, and the questions will be selected to be answered at that time. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Freeman.
Thank you. I guess my career started in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Some years ago, 1964, when I felt that when I wanted to go to college, and the only way I could have gone to college was to get a scholarship. So I played all these other sports, but I wasn't too good in them. So I decided to run track in 1964. In the summer of 64. In 1965, I felt I had a chance to run the 800 meters and get a scholarship. I went to Thomas Jefferson High School. That fall, September, October, I started running 2 miles cross country. And in September, by October, when the doctors checked us, I was told that I couldn't run. I couldn't run because I had a heart murmur. So that was very challenging to me because that's how I was going to get everything paid, running my tail off and getting a scholarship. December of that year, the mayor came to me and told me that he has someone that wanted to pay for me to get a catheterization, because if I got a catheterization and that worked out all right, I could run. I went and but I didn't run from October to December. So I got the catheterization and things worked out and I was able to run. That year, at 16 years old, I ran the fastest time in the country, and 46.6 in yards, and it also turned out to be 46.6, 46.7 in the national championship in meters. I had a number of scholarships, like 200 scholarships, selected to travel that summer and selected to go to ASU, Arizona State University. That changed my life, really, going to Arizona State University, because that was a huge university, and today it's the largest public university in the United States. So I spent my second year of that, my junior year. I went on to try for the Olympic Games. Didn't make the first Olympic trials. Lee and I he was giving me information about the boycott. And we were talking about that. But you had to go to the Olympic Games to be a part of that whole, that conversation. Well, the first Olympic trials in LA, I didn't make it. I went home. Lee called me up and said, hey, there's going to be another Olympic trials because of the boycott possibilities. So I said, okay, I'm coming out to San Jose. I'm going to work with you. I went out to San Jose, worked with Lee. We traveled around the world in some competitions, and I was fortunate enough to make the team. Going to Mexico City was very sad. We saw people demonstrating. We saw a lot of people demonstrating behind a fence, and because they were being treated just as black folks are being treated in the United States. It was hard for us to really overcome that. But we did. John and Tom, we had a meeting in Mexico City. All the athletes, white and black. What are we going to do? We're here now. We're going to boycott, or we're going to demonstrate. Okay, so we had our little groups. We told each other, don't tell anybody what you're going to do. Just do your thing if you're going to do it. There were some people that could not do anything. Mel Pender, a good friend of mine, is one. He was in the military, so he couldn't do anything, but he supported all of us in our actions. Lee and Larry and I decided what we're going to do, got the berets and wore his black socks, and John and Tommy did theirs. Wyoming Tires did her thing. So a lot of people showed their consistency on wanting to demonstrate their against human rights. And that was, human rights was the word that was used. After the Olympic Games, I came home. Everything was pretty cool. John and Tommy had a rough time. Lee was okay, and I think Larry and Vince was okay. But after that time, I had to finish school, and I went to Kane University and got the degree there. but now it was what was my life going to be. So I had a couple of jobs that I really, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I raised money at a couple of universities, and had a couple of little jobs, but in my heart, I want to work for myself. And so that's why I got together with a few people and started a nonprofit. That nonprofit allowed me to use my celebrity to touch youth in ways that I ordinarily might not have had the opportunity to do that. In Baltimore, we started an after-school program that was one to be, appreciated, and we touched hundreds of kids in the after-school program. We also work with the Department of Labor, and we started working with gangs on the east side and the west side. And can you imagine taking 50 kids, boys and girls, to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore for a whole week? Gangs, didn't take their cell phones. We didn't take their beepers. We just said we wanted them to be turned off. And it was a great week. I mean, for the kids, they had a lovely time there and they learned a lot. We also sent some youngsters from the school to Olympic Games, ninth graders to the Olympic Games, the Winter Olympic Games, and that was a great experience for them. So that was my humanitarian trials that led me to all these other countries. I wound up taking Olympians to England, Germany, Italy, and Turkey because there were Americans on all those military bases. And, you have to give a lot to the people in this military because that they have children. And during the time I was there were planes coming in and landing early in the morning with bodies, dead bodies, shot up bodies. And those were the kids' parents those are the kids whose parents were shot. And so what we wanted to do was to put a smile on their face and let them relax for a day. And we were successful in that. We were successful in that. But after doing that for a while, I felt that it was time to head home and do some work in Africa. I started going to UNESCO meetings in Paris. And at one of the meetings, I met a young man, like Willie Banks had introduced me to this guy, a young man, who set up a meeting with the president of the Olympic Committee, Juan Samaranch, and the director of UNESCO. And during that meeting, we signed an MOU. And that MOU it opened the door for us to go in Africa. And we got a couple of dollars to do that. So that was my entry to Africa. My partner and I, Beatrice Rice, we started writing proposals from the U.S. Department of State, and which gave us monies to do some things in Africa. The proposals that we wrote, we wrote them in the vein of doing sports coaching. And, I always use sports as a way to teach life skills. And it has always worked out. And we had one of our largest events that we developed was the Mali Youth Peace Games. And that was an outstanding event. We had people coming from as far about a day before Timbuktu all the way down to the capital. And it was a great event. After that event, I was asked to develop an event for Guinea, similar to that event. And so I did, the Mano River Union Youth Peace Games. And that was Guinea, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Cote d'Ivoire. 100 kids from each country. And out of the 100 kids, 20 of them would be take part in a debate team. Great program. It was set up to be. It was going to be a great program. But what we had to do was what happened was that excuse me a second, there was a coup in Guinea at that time. And that coup just canceled that games.
Hi, everyone. We are reconnecting with Coach Ron Freeman shortly. Just have a bit of technical difficulties on that end. We will get that resolved here in just a moment. Please do continue to enter your questions in the chat or comments using the streaming system that you are using at present. And we will be sure to ask him questions that were received during this time when the Q&A session opens at the conclusion of today's lecture. In the meantime, far be it for me to be remiss in not taking advantage of this opportunity. I want to make sure that everyone is aware that our first annual Advanced Gala for Frontiers International Plainfield Area Club is coming up on November 2nd. For those of you who are interested in supporting our organization as we continue to provide scholarships for young people who are either at risk, local community youth who are in need and can benefit from that support. Otherwise, we also have our Junior Frontiers mentorship program, whereby we empower young boys and girls to prepare them not only for a college career, but also career readiness thereafter. We have afforded these young people the opportunity to travel abroad to Africa. We will be doing that henceforth in the coming year as we partner with our sister club here in this district, the first district of Frontiers International, and that is the Mohawk Valley Club in New York. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is certainly an opportunity where you can help us to impact the lives of our young people who far too often get overlooked and underserved. That said, ladies and gentlemen, Ron Freeman is back, and we are going to turn back to him for picking right back up where we left off. Welcome back, Ron.
Thank you. So, my course went on to do programs in several African countries. But after we had the coup in Guinea, I decided to stay in Guinea because I wanted to finish what I started. My team, they agreed with me that we should try to make things work. Edwin Moses came over. A couple of people from California came over to help me start the International Medalist Association in Africa. And we have been very successful in doing those programs, a lot of programs in Guinea. Using sports as a tool to promote life skills has been my way of working with children. I've worked with I've touched hundreds of thousands of children in Guinea. We partnered with Tom Shoes. And each year we're giving 30,000 pair of shoes to girls. Why girls? Because girls have a problem of going to school. The girls in Africa, girls are the last person to go to college, go to school. And one of the other reasons is because that there's students that can't go to school because they don't have any shoes. So I focus on girls, but when we got out to the villages, yes, I did, give the shoes to many of the small boys. So everybody was satisfied with that. And the shoe program was a very good program in Guinea. The other thing we did in Guinea was to use, we bought double dutch into Guinea. Why double dutch? It was an easy sport. You can do it anywhere. It's a team sport, an individual sport, and got kids playing together and doing things that they never have done before. They've never jumped rope, and they turned out to do great. I have a video that I sent you on your WhatsApp page, and that video will show you 1,000 girls walking into a stadium for a double dutch competition. 1,000 girls. I have videos of 500 or 600 girls, warming up for double dutch competitions. We have videos. I think you have a video of 600 boys and girls who were at a mixed football camp. So one of the things that I did with that, and I was told that I got one of my awards because of the reason, was that we gave the coaches that were training these youngsters in the schools talking points. How are you doing in school? How's your work coming along? Things of that sort to make them a better person. And you didn't do certain things that the coach wants you to do, you couldn't compete. And that worked well. The mixed football programs that we designed, it was a 5-1-5. 3 girls, 2 boys. The reason it was like that, because we were trying to teach girls how to play soccer. And the boys, if the boys touched the girls or hit them the wrong way, the girls would get a strong penalty. And in that, we were teaching boys how to deal with girls, and how to be careful with girls. That was the talking points of the coaches. So and that, mixed football program has spread throughout West Africa. It's a game. We didn't want to challenge, the Ministry of Sports, but we wanted to help them to teach youngsters how to play a particular sport as a game. We've done that in Sierra Leone, Liberia, Ghana, and right now I've recently settled down in Ghana. And we're going to have some major projects going on there in the next year. Okay. We're going to start rolling out some programs there. And in Ghana, I'll be focused in the Cape Coast. Cape Coast is an interesting place to be. I think that the frontiersmen have done a lot of great things in Ghana. And I think when we roll out our program, I might want to talk to some of them, because I'm living there. And it's one thing to come and go, but when you live in a country, you really see the little things that need to be done for the kids. And that's what we want to do in a program that the frontiersmen have done in Ghana and other places around Africa, I think are great. I think they are outstanding. And so we might want to talk to them to follow up on it. And there's a couple other organizations that we're going to be talking to there, because I want to put together a program that will be long lasting, that will be beneficial, whether a youngster has gone to college or not. Okay, we want to change the lives of the people in Ghana, and there's a major program that we are working with the White House right now and trying to get that program, that health initiative, to take place in Ghana. That would be life-changing if we can get that health initiative going in Ghana. So again, that's where I'm at. I'm happy to be in Ghana. I'm here now, and again, America's always my base. I have two grandsons and two granddaughters that I see 2 or 3 times a year, and hopefully, as they grow, they will come to Ghana and see me. Unfortunately, I got here and had an accident with my knee. So I'm in bed talking to you from a bed, but hopefully that will clear up before I go back to Ghana. Any questions?
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Ron. Your insights certainly are inspiring and very telling. We did receive a couple questions thus far in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, all of our viewers, if you have any questions further, please continue to put them in the chat and we will read through them and provide answers here live on the broadcast. The first question we received, Ron, comes from Che Coulter. And Che inquires, how many countries did you get to visit over that first 15-year period? If you could tell us a bit more about that.
I think I've done 10 or more countries in the first, 15 years. They were for 2 or 3 days, maybe a week. I'd go in with a team, and we did what's called coaches training programs. The start of that was funded by the International Olympic Committee and the UNESCO. After that, there were small grants that were funded by the State Department. State Department. So we go in and do these coaches training programs and track and field coaches. It was very rewarding. And that time gave me an opportunity to see what I really want to do. When the program in Guinea, the Mana River Union Youth Peace Games was canceled, I basically called home and said, hey, I'm not coming home. Because I love Guinea folks are very great. They're nice people, and they're in a bad situation. They're in a very bad situation because of all the minerals in that country. It's a shame. Yeah. It's a shame. And, the Frontiers, I appreciate them because they're into, exposing youth. They do some nice stuff and not just go and come. They leave stuff there in the country that helps the people grow. Something need to be painted, they paint it. They need computers, they get computers. I mean, it's a great organization. I know many organizations just, go for the dollar. Right. People direct them, let me, make $80,000-$90,000 and go with that. Yeah. But I'd be interested in talking to Frontiers because I'm going to go. I'm there and I'm going to do something. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I just want to build on it. And the Frontiers seem like something I'd want to build on if they wouldn't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as an organization, the Frontiers, we firmly believe and stand on our mantra, which is advancement through service. So if we're going to go to Ghana and we're going to provide opportunities and these experiences for our young people that we're taking with us, we certainly recognize that we can't just go extract and leave, but certainly want to make sure we are contributing as well in whatever way we can. That said, another question has come in, and I want to share this one. This came in from Seb Tohe. And Seb asked, how important do you think it is for Black Americans to create global awareness of oppression and to build relationships with people abroad to fight injustice? I think that's a very critical question. I'm going to turn to you for that answer, but Seb, thank you so much for your question.
Well, again, we are Africans. We have to realize that we are Africans, and Africa is in trouble. Just think, Africa, 30% of the world's minerals come from Africa. The cell phone wouldn't work if it wasn't for Africa. These electronic batteries won't work unless they go to the Congo or to get the minerals. That's where all the minerals are, Africa, and we are Africans. So my concern at this time is, let's get ourselves together first. I don't think about racist attitudes. Everybody can love everybody and work with everybody, but we got to get ourselves together. We have kids that will go to college, that people take on all these trips. But we have kids that are good with their hands, that are good with their minds, that don't go to college, that need to go on all these trips. Indeed. Why? To be exposed.
Absolutely.
To be exposed. So, and that's what I'd like to do, expose all kids, not take the college-bound kids. Take some of them. But just think of taking kids to expose them. What might happen? Well, the kids might say, I want to live in Africa.
Yeah.
They just might say that. Yeah. And before I go to Africa, I might want to go to a trade school and get a skill. Right. And I need money to go to that trade school, the IT school, the AI school, things of that sort. Africa is beautiful. I know a lot of people, that have not gone to Africa. They don't know what Africa is all about. Yeah. The beautiful houses in Africa, there's nothing here like that. And there's no mortgages in many countries. That means they're built with the money of owners' cash money. In Guinea, it's a cash society. What I mean by that, you don't get money to buy a car, to build a house. You got to use your own money. It's a cash society. I learned a lot living there. But there's so many reasons that we have to get our young folks together. On most of the trips, you'll see adults saying, I love Africa. I've been here. I've been to South Africa, Ghana. But we have to expose our kids. Frontiers, hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hip, hooray. You're doing a good job. And a lot of people, you should put it out there. Yeah. I read about what you've been doing. And I just really want to follow your lead. I've been going on all these years. I've sent Africans to America. Many, 20, 30 of them, okay? And now at the end of my journey, it'll be the last few chapters of my book will be how I brought Africans from America to the Cape Coast. And we're going to develop the Cape Coast and that southern part of Accra. We're going to develop that. On top of what y'all have done.
Wow. No, that's incredible. Not only is it a very big undertaking, but the impact is certainly something that will resonate and spread broadly, probably for years to come. So I definitely applaud you for your work. The Frontiers International, Mohawk Valley especially, big shout out to our sister club there. And the first district of which we're a part, the Plainfield Area Club, we understand the importance of exposure. Exposure itself is, in fact, a great educator, and probably a greater educator than the typical education system to which we are exposed. And I would say that that's also why we incorporate that mindset, that frame of reference, that college is a path, but it's not the only path. And in our scholarship program, we awarded scholarships to young people who are seeking education or training in trade schools
Okay.
as well. So we definitely want to make sure that it's equal opportunity for every degree of talent, every path of growth and forward and upward mobility. So I appreciate you for your efforts, of course, and certainly my hats go off to you. I will go back to Seb Tohei's question. He did ask about the importance of Black Americans to create global awareness of oppression. And I think what he's inquiring is how important it is for us to expose the world to the oppression of Black Americans, and then have those relationships more globally to have a bigger impact in fighting injustice. So I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, the thing with that, the world sees injustices of Black folks. It's not new.
Yeah.
It started with slavery. You know, they can look at television and seeing a cop beat a Black person unfairly. So they can see a Karen treating a little girl the wrong way. You know, it's recognized that it used to be the redlining of houses of Black people. So there's a lot of things that shows injustice, but we are a group of people that survived 300 years of slavery.
Yes, we are.
I mean, we survived, and just imagine, we couldn't read, couldn't be taught how to read or write, but as soon as slavery ended, we were reading and writing.
Right.
You see what I mean? So again, we have to focus on us. Okay, we have to focus on us. The other nationalities, they don't focus on us to see how we feel about that. If they know what's wrong, they know what's wrong. But you know, we have to do business with everybody anyway. So, but let's talk about what can we do to make our youngsters better men and women. What can we do to make our people who have fallen, to wake them up and allow them to stand up on their 2 feet and do better? Okay, because I think some people here, if they were groomed properly, they can do much better in Africa. Much better life. It's going to be a different life, but they can do much better. So
I think that's a great point. It's not one that is often explored, but
well, a lot of expats are coming to West Africa as well as East Africa. Zambia. I mean, I was in Zambia for a couple of years. They're coming here. They're coming to Africa. Okay, so we have to get more, and I'd like to get a program that your group put together, and I'd like to get a group of youth, 2 groups of youth, that would come to the Cape Coast not once, but come over there several times over a 2 or 3 year period. Let them really see it, and let them really work to build on yours.
I know, I like that. It's more of an exchange too. I mean,
yeah,
extended access definitely is life changing. It gives you a broader perspective of what's really happening there.
Right. So
there's another question that came in. We're just going to turn to YouTube. Looks like this came in from Yoke Fellow John Brinkley. He's indicated that it's important that athletes be in good health. But are there challenges or opportunities that you addressed with the youth that you've worked with in this area?
Well, what other challenges are there?
Well, he's saying that are there challenges or opportunities that you've addressed with young people regarding health?
Regarding health. In Africa, that's one of the things that we talk to youngsters about, and there's a big, food and eating is a big problem in many African countries. But the plantains, bananas, the fruits are free. To know them, we've developed relationships with some of the sellers in some countries, in Guinea, matter of fact, so they can, give some of the kids and families some of the fruits that they're selling. Um, there's a herbal king that that I'm living with now in Ghana, and he's really a dynamic person who knows. I mean, the herbs, all the herbs are. I'm not saying all the herbs are, but herbs are just leaves on trees or bushes that are taken, washed, cleaned, sanitized, and cut up, and you eat them or drink them in certain teas and coffees, and that's good for your health. And so, yeah, I'm helping him to promote that to people here in the United States. But yeah, food is really a basic. I had a young lady in my double Dutch program in Guinea, and she might have been in elementary school. She was good. As time went on and we had competitions, I didn't see her. So I asked the coach, "Where's your young lady at?" He said, "Well, coach, she broke her arm and they cut the arm off. They cut it off because it was cheaper to cut the arm off than to put it in a cast." And he didn't come to me. And a lot of stuff like that happened. I mean, the medical, it's a lot of stuff like that happened.
Wow.
As poor girl, they let me know, hey, she'd have had an arm today, but they didn't know. They said that's what happens. And medical situations in some countries um, are good for people with money
Mm-hmm.
and not good for people who don't have money. Because you go to a hospital, I guess in Africa, you have to have the money before you come in to get, before they give you the clapper to
Wow.
bring you back to life. Show me the money and we'll clap, or not. Hey, I'm
Wow.
sorry. I mean, and that's the truth of it. But we have to work on that, developing that. And we as Africans here in America should pay attention to that and would want to help a country. There might have been things done years ago, but now it's changed, and the frontiers know how things are in Africa now, in other parts of Africa. But we
Yeah.
have to come together. Um, we have to come together because Africa's a great place, and it's a
Absolutely.
great place for business. I mean, it's a great place for housing, for farming, for banking. It's a great place. If you know where to go and get the information, it's a great place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I definitely appreciate the insights there as well. I mean, having been there that many years, the degree of exposure that you have certainly outpaces most of us. But there's a question that comes in related really to your presence there in Africa. He indicates here, John, that a number of people and organizations are in support of this concept of the United States of Africa. What's your sense of the momentum there on the continent as it relates to this?
Well, when you see all these coups, years ago, you used to see a coup. I told you I was in Guinea, there's coups all the time. Uh, but those were coups against the president, and the presidents at those times, they were thinking about themselves. The coups that are coming up now, and particularly the one in Burkina Faso and Niger, Burkina Faso and Niger and some other countries, they are serious about helping the people. That's all they want to do is to really help the countries grow, and they seem to be good at this time. They seem about moving, and so it depends on how many more coups that happen that think that way, that can really move things ahead. The thing that will do it is once you get the dollar.
Yeah.
One of the most important things is getting the currency. You know, the one Africa need, it has to be the $1. You know, I
Mm.
can't take a Guinea franc from Guinea and go and change it in Burkina Faso or
Mm.
Sierra Leone
Wow.
or Ghana. That's the thing that's hurting us. Okay, because you can take the pound or any other currency and you can change it. You know, but when that happens, when the money gets more power, that's going to be helpful. The one Africa, certainly, that's a great concept. It wasn't started now; it started years ago.
Right.
And you know, when people say that, they get erased.
Mm. As one might suspect would happen.
You're right.
So that said, though, I do want to take a moment. Of course, thank you for all that you've shared with us today. More importantly, thank you for all of your contributions to this global society and the experiences of these our people. I do want to pause now and just say that as we come up on the bottom of the 2:30 time frame, the bottom of the segment that was designated for today's lecture, I want to give you an opportunity to share any closing remarks with the audience, and then I'll address everyone and we will convene at another moment. But I'm going to turn to you now, Ron, sharing any closing remarks that you might have for all those standing with us.
Yeah, I would like to thank you for giving me this vehicle to give some of my history and some of my opinions on Africa, particularly. I think that in this day and age that we as people of African descent, that we should start paying more attention to Africa, go to Africa, but don't let an adult go to Africa without taking a child. We have to take a son, a daughter, a nephew, a niece, or grandchildren to Africa, because that's what's going to help Africa. Just like other children of different nationalities go home to their country, we have to start loading up our kids with African information. So I'd like to thank you and John and the other folks who put this thing together, this program together, for allowing me the opportunity to share some of my history. It's the first, and I'm going to follow up on it. And I would suggest that anyone listening to this program to recruit to give more money to the frontiers, to give more money, because their money, I know, what I've read, is spent correctly, and that's what we need to do, is support them. If we don't support them. You know, you can't talk about what's happening with this, what's happening now. It's about money, interest, and getting feet on the ground and getting involved.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I truly appreciate your partnership, Ron. Thank you so very much for sharing even that bit about where we cross paths, where our work has intersectionality, and where the impact really grows through numbers and support. The more that occurs, the further our impact can reach. Thank you so much, Ron. Thank you, everyone else, for joining us today. I will now share just a bit in closing. I'm Safir Jenkins, as president of Frontiers International Plainfield Area Club. It certainly is always a pleasure to join you in segments like these, where we have historians, humanitarians, individuals from our community who are already doing the hard work it takes to uplift a society of people. You too can take a part, and you can help us to continue changing the lives of young people that we encounter each day in and around the area of Plainfield, New Jersey, inclusive of Newark, East Orange, uh, Plainfield, Central Jersey at large. We do what our part as much as we can to help change the lives and make opportunities available for young people who not only have shared experiences and look like us, but more importantly, they have hopes and dreams that can materialize when, in fact, the village comes together to help make a difference. As we prepare to close, I will share again that Frontiers International Plainfield Area Club is a 501c3 organization. Donations can be made by visiting bit.ly/Plainfield Frontiers donate. That link is in the highlighted chat in today's broadcast. We also have our first annual Advanced Gala coming up on November 2nd. This will be the first time that we've done a gala of this sort. And we want this to really be foundational to the impact that we continue to broaden and make in the lives of young people. So it's another opportunity for you to take part in the fundraising efforts or even in the scholarships that get furnished through these types of efforts for our young people. That gala will be held on November 2nd at the Westwood in the LaDonna Ballroom starting at 7 p.m. To get tickets for the gala, you can do so by going to the event here on Facebook, or you can visit bit.ly/FIP Advanced Gala 24. If you're going to type it, you will have to have proper caps when doing so. Nevertheless, however, you can click the link right from the comment, and we would certainly appreciate your partnership and your support as we continue to do our part in changing the lives and enhancing the experiences and exposure of the young people in the communities that we serve. Again, I'm Safir Jenkins. We are Frontiers International Plainfield Area Club, and we stand for advancement through service. I appreciate your time today. I appreciate all of your efforts as you join us and partner with us as we continue to make an impact. We have been doing this since 1936, and we also host the annual Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Memorial Breakfast Celebration, where we not only honor the life of Dr. King, but also continue to carry forward that legacy. We've done that now for 48 years. It is the longest running MLK Memorial Celebration of its kind in the state. To date, since running that program, we have issued more than 200 scholarships to deserving young people who were in our community, who demonstrated a need, but also demonstrated a hope for a brighter future. So we help shape that future by empowering them, and we will continue to do this for as long as God allows and for as long as our community helps and supports. I appreciate your time today. I look forward to seeing you all at the gala, the first annual Advanced Gala, where advancement through service gets realized through our collaboration and collective efforts. Thank you. I bid you adieu. You all have a wonderful day. Be well.